Gears 5 has without a doubt the best Gears of War campaign yet. This flawed but enjoyable entry into the franchise takes all the learnings from the previous games and sprinkles in some much needed features and light open world RPG ingredients to deliver something fans of the franchise will truly love. Gears 5 instantly drops you into the action with a blistering set piece based in a beautifully overgrown abandoned Hammer of Dawn satellite launch silo that serves as a substantial improvement over the opening scenes in its predecessor. Although this sequence is quintessential Gears, it sets into motion the main narrative thread of the game and lays the groundwork for a few of the new features. It's during this opening sequence that it becomes obvious this installment of the franchise is going to be a little different. There's a much stronger focus on the characters and their relationships to each other, telling a much more personal story, one that ties intrinsically into the war against the Swarm. Gears 5 follows on directly from its predecessor, moving the focus away from Marcus Phoenix's generic action hero son, JD, to the entirely more interesting Kate and her journey to discover the truth of her heritage. Kate was a big focus in Gears 4, but here she really gets to shine. As endearing as Kate's journey throughout Gears 5 is, don't expect to be surprised by the narrative beats. This is still Gears of War. Nuance and subtlety are not this franchise's strong points. What truly elevates this title above everything else in the series beforehand are the new RPG-style features, coming in the form of upgrades for your lovable floaty robo-boy Jack. There's also the new open world areas and a couple of legitimate A or B player choice moments, one so narratively huge and gut-punchingly emotional that whatever you decide will heavily impact your experience in the inevitable Gears 6. The real star additions are the two open world hubs that connect main story tasks. The beautifully realized locations are traversed using the skiff. These hub areas have several very basic side quests listed throughout, with the reward being decent weapons, upgrades and components for Jack as well as collectibles, all of which add to your campaign completion percentage. As nice as it is to have these moments of calm traversing across the dazzling landscapes between locations, and to have a place to store some of your beefier guns on the skiff, there really isn't much to do in these parts. There are no swarm soldiers roaming the landscapes to mow down like in Halo's Warthog segments. Despite these problems, they do add a worthwhile extra layer to Gears 5, allowing time for the protagonists to truly express their feelings and bring you closer to the friendship between Del and Kate, and help make Planet Sarah feel like a palpable world, adding tangible positions to locations you'll revisit from the original trilogy. Unfortunately, at times it's hard not to see the open world areas as a wasted opportunity, although driving off high ridges never stops being entertaining. Jack, on the other hand, along with his new abilities and RPG-style progression, is great. Throughout the story, he obtains several skills from Baird, some of which really change the way you approach a fight, offering abilities like shielding, cloaking, and the skill to turn certain swarm foes against their own. Obviously, they all run on a cooldown system, and this really forces you as the player to think tactically and choose which of Jack's abilities are most suited to each situation. A nice new feature that's always active allows Jack to pick up weapons and ammo a good distance away and bring them over to you in battle. Very handy when you're pinned down and running low. It should also be pointed out that at times this game really is stunning. Whether battling through a lush forest, skiffing across the desert, investigating wreckage in the snow, or traversing through a rocket manufacturing facility, Gears 5 never fails to be beautiful. As enjoyable as the campaign is, it still suffers from some of the age-old Gears of War level design cliches. The number of times I found myself being ordered by Marcus to travel to a location and push a button to activate something, only to find out that whatever that button was supposed to do is jammed, so I'd have to go and fulfill 2 more tasks to unjam that something, is frustrating. Gears wouldn't be Gears without bombastic, ridiculous set pieces, and Gears 5 is no different. It's just a shame that most big boss battles still come down to shoot the glowing orange bits until they all pop or until the baddie falls down. Oh, and not to shoehorn this in, but the Lancer chainsaw attack has been moved from its iconic B button to right bumper, and that feels all kinds of wrong. Despite these problems, they never detract from the fact that the core Gears gameplay is still as enjoyable as it's ever been. The set pieces that move the narrative along may be tedious at times, but actually progressing through and mowing down hordes of swarm on your way is still an absolute blast. Gears 5 continues the legacy of co-op campaign, increasing the numbers of players on one screen from 2 in Gears of War 4 to 3, although this is still less than the 4 seen in Gears 3. The third player will take on the role of Jack, which does add an interesting new dynamic when playing with friends. We finished the main story in just over 9 hours, completing a few side quests along the way. That may not seem too long, but that was with a campaign completion of 56.78%, meaning that there are many side quests and collectibles still out there to find. Real completionists could be looking at a potential 20-hour campaign, a rather healthy length. Gears 5 has the best campaign of the series to date, improving on everything Gears of War 4 did right, learning from the series' past mistakes and adding a slew of new additions that push the series in ways you'd never expect. It looks like Gears, it plays like Gears, but it elevates the series one step further, and we can't wait to see how they build on this in future entries.